Let's put it together for Craig Reed, Lynyrd Skynyrd Band.
The Stone Roadie Show, podcast 301. Action. Alrighty, fellow Stone Roadie Dimension followers in my dimension and world. Looky here, looky here. My name's Craig Reed, a.k.a. the Stone Roadie, and this is April 7th, 2024, and it's podcast 301, Wake and Bake the Morning Buzz, episode 170, and in my opinion, in my dimension, number 5. And this is my co-host, the rocket scientist, Griff Martin. So what the heck are we going to talk about today on this Monday morning there, Griff?
Well, I enjoyed that Saturday night special that you and Kathy had the other day, and I heard something on there that was a little bit kind of like took me aback a little bit, that you and Kathy were talking about Barry Lee Harwood and Bo Bison joining the APB band. That's I don't know. Anybody know about that being true or not? Because I haven't heard anything from anybody. I haven't called anybody to check on it. Sounds a little fishy to me, but
I heard rumors about it last week, and I kind of waiting for something to happen, and then that subject came up again, and the more I hear it, the more I guess it's might be true. So yeah, I'm not sure, but that Bo Bison, he's pretty good. He was on American Idol, and then we all know Barry Lee Harwood's great. So well, that'd be interesting. We'll have to see what
I would definitely say that would help ticket sales tremendously.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Not that Artimus has a problem with ticket sales, but I think it'll draw a huge crowd.
Yeah, both Bo Bison on there, that people know about him, and then everybody knows about Barry Lee. So yeah, that would be an interesting combination.
That'd be a crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got 3 top notch. Not that the rest of the guys, of course, all the other band members are top notch, but iconic guys like Bo Bison and then Barry Lee and then Artimus Pyle, who are well-known, famous musicians, and then you've got the rest of the band that are very dialed in. So
yeah, he had a great band before, but it's nice when you got a little niche, and Bison and Barry Lee, that'd be a little more of a gimmick, That's what
I would definitely go see him. I would even drive to another state if I had to go see him. But I hear they're coming to Florida somewhere. Paul Conley told me somewhere near him, and I think it's July or August or something like that. So I'm going to wait and see what happens. I'll stay in touch with Paul, and I'm going to find out if that's real or not, because, sometimes it's bullshit, but I hope it's not. And then you got something behind you there, a little something about the Pawn Stars that you were talking about.
My friend John Williams, he went out to Pawn Stars, and he sent me this picture behind me of one of my set lists that I had with me on the airplane crash that Sir Productions made and sent out to us, so we didn't have to hand write them all the time. In '76, there weren't Xerox machines weren't very popular. Many hotels had them, and not many venues had them. So when we had a show, we had to write up that set list behind me. Had to write handwrite them like a dozen of them every day to pass around on the stage area and then the dressing rooms and all around the venue and stuff, so people know the schedule. So Sir Productions just Xeroxed a bunch of copies out and sent them out to us, a stack at a time. And I ended up with a little small stack I took home with me at the end of one of the tours. And then when I got home on that last time, I found out I was getting a divorce. So when I left town, I packed everything I could possibly think of that I wanted to keep. You know, I didn't want to leave in that apartment, and I wanted to keep. I took it with me because I knew we were going to Cleveland, which is near where I am now. That's going to drop everything off here, and then we got in that plane crash. So all my memorabilia was on that airplane crash, which I got a lot of it back. You know, but
Who hand wrote the set list?
I don't know. Somebody up there.
So it wasn't you.
No. Somebody up there at Sir Productions. On the top of it, the head, it's not, there's not enough up there, but the header is Xeroxed, and then the rest of it is was handwritten. So yeah,
and then it says Lakeland Civic Center too, which is 2 shows.
Yeah,
before the crash.
that was of the 18th, and I asked John to ask them what the deal was with that, and they said, yeah, that was a copy too. So it just, I actually, I haven't been selling stuff on eBay, but last week somebody requested that I put up one of them silver dollars that I was selling that was on the plane. So I put that up last week, and then I wasn't sure if I was going to put anything up this week or not. But then when I saw the that set list, I posted it was out at. I said, "Hey, look at here! I got one of my set lists that I sold on eBay, out hanging in Pawn Stars." And then somebody said, "Well, I bought one of those," and then somebody else said, "Well, I bought one too." I go, "Wait a minute, you know, they didn't get those aren't original set lists," and I'm going, "What the heck's going on?" So I decided to put one on eBay just to see what would happen, and then my buddy John Williams was out there, and he went down to Pawn Stars and told the guy, he says, "Is that a copy?" And the guy said, "It's a copy of one that was on the plane." And he said, "Well, how about the poster?" He said, "Yeah, it was a copy too." Let me drop myself down. But there's actually you can see that one thing down there. That's Ronnie's hat. I guess that gold thing, I can't read it. I'm going to try to expand it. I just found all of this out just a little bit ago. I didn't have much time to mess with it. But that gold thing there, I think that says that stuff's a copy. But then under it, that's where they had Ronnie's hat. Something about Ronnie's hat. But one of the other ones, one of the guys bought on FakeBook, it had it didn't have that hat thing on it. It had a CD under it. So they changed that, but all of them have my set list, and then they have the Lakeland Civic thing, and then they changed the Ronnie's hat thing. One of them had a Skynyrd CD in there, but they sell them for $595. So I figured probably that frame, to maybe that frame and everything's probably a couple $100. So they're making like $300 profit on selling copies of my set list and that Lakeland Civic poster. So, but I didn't think they sold copies of anything. But so I put it on there. But I'm going to have to start. I don't sign the set list or nothing, but from now on I'm going to start signing the back of the set list, since I know people are copying it, because I don't want to deface the front. So from now on I'm going to sign the back of the set list just to let it know that it's original and it came from me, although I give a document of authenticity with mine. So but yeah, you can buy that off of Pawn Stars for $600, or you can get one of mine, which is was actually on the airplane, but I don't have the other stuff, the Lakeland.
Well, how do you get it from Pawn Stars? Do they have a website?
I don't know. They have them out there for sale. They're $595. They're out there, you know, and
in the store.
Yeah, they'll sell one and then they'll make another one. because I've saw 3, so I don't know how many they've sold. Two people on FakeBook have bought them, so they've probably sold a few of them. It's a nice little package, you know. But those set lists came from me. Nobody else had them but me. But those are copies. That's a copy. It says right on it, it's a copy of one that was on the plane. But that's strange they're selling copies, because all the things I ever saw, they didn't want nothing to do with copies. But boy, this Skynyrd stuff's crazy, man. There are people who buy copies of this shit. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I just got a warning of an unstable internet connection. So
Yeah, I saw you flutter for a second.
did I? Yeah, it's been a while since I've had that
Just
problem.
just a second it did. But
Let's see what happens, but we'll press right along and see how fast.
that
I got a
won't
bunch
bother
of
anybody.
I got a bunch of comments and questions in here, and I got an interesting comment from an individual who is very hacked off, and he was mainly directing it towards you, Craig, but you know, both of us, I guess, but a lot of it's you. And the guy he's so freaking pissed off. He's saying basically, to hell with the survivors. Enough is enough. Let them go get a job like everybody else. Can you believe this guy, man?
Sounds like the Skynyrd bunch.
Yeah, it sounds like
Skynyrd
Skynyrd
band
management.
and management. You screw that survivor.
I mean, you know, you can get pissed off, you know, about something, but when you start attacking the Lynyrd Skynyrd survivors of the plane, I mean, dude, you're freaking messing up, man. I mean, that ain't cool. And you put it in the comments for everybody to read. And there's a lot of sensitive people on here when it comes to Lynyrd Skynyrd. You know, they eat, drink, breathe, and sleep Lynyrd Skynyrd, and they love the plane crash survivors. And you know, these people are hurting, man. You know, it's not like, I mean, you telling Leslie Hawkins to go get a job, dude? Oh, well, we'll go through the comments, and when I get to it, I'll read it.
I still get a lot of comments. I should write a book, you know, and I keep saying, you know, I don't, you know, see where I have anything more to add to books than what's already been given. But God, the more we poke along and the more my life with this whole thing evolves, the more shit it seems I got to write about this podcast and the people that have involved themselves in it and the comments that people make about it. You know, I might change my mind and just write a book about how, you know, what.
But you're not done living you're not finished living the life.
I'm still, the book's still being written as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, you just keep on writing my book out there for me, and maybe I'll put it together.
I think a book could actually be written off of this podcast. I mean, there's enough information on this podcast. You could just go through this whole thing, 301 podcast.
Yes, and Kathy and I shared that thing about Alan. You know, Alan Gary took scuba. They got their scuba license, and when they did, they took CPR. And it's a good thing they did, because Alan took a big old hit of freebase one time and his heart stopped, and Gary used CPR on him and brought him back to life. And
yeah,
Alan was so appreciative.
That was I never heard that before.
Yeah, Alan was so appreciative to Gary, he gave him that 39 Buick. Yeah. Yeah, not many people know that story. Yeah.
But then they got in a fist fight over at Gary's house, and Gary didn't go, "I should have let you die, you son of a bitch."
That was the first fist fight they'd ever had that I'd ever seen. That's the first time that was like the first time they ever argued that I ever seen. And boy, they let all that whole life experience they had come out in one evening.
Yeah, and then that was pretty much the end.
Yeah, they didn't have any real love for each other after that. Yeah.
And you were mentioning also that I'm going to be going up to Jacksonville, and you might be coming there around the 24th or 5th or something like that. And
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
something like that. Yeah,
so
Steve Reynolds said actually he's not ready for it yet. Yeah.
oh, he's not.
No, he's still putting stuff together with the guitars and stuff, and
Well, good because
he's not quite
I don't
ready
think
for it
I
yet.
want to do an exclusive visit with Steve where I'm not having to because I'm going to be doing a lot of things while I'm there. There's going to be I got to talk to Joe Crimp, get that set up. Hopefully he can do that and he doesn't have anything going on. And then Kathy Keeble's going to be at the Van Zant house, and I think some special guests are going to be there. So I'll take my camera over there. And Gene said he'd come, and there's always
Yeah,
something to get into. And
Steve
you'll be there.
suggested you make it because I said you might combine the thing with Joe Crimp and him, and he said, "Well, I'm not ready." He said, "Probably best if he just did a single thing with me, though, because he's got a lot to talk about."
Yeah, and he's always a great entertainer too, man. That guy is like he's got a lot of stuff about Alan, and
Yeah, they're
he's
going to play a song that Steve played drums and Alan played guitar and Mike Owings played guitar and they played a song that Alan wrote called "Oh Faye."
oh
Oh
yeah,
Faye,
good.
why you want to treat a broke down man this way?
Is there anybody singing in it? I mean, who's?
um, I'm not sure. I haven't heard that
Yeah,
version. I
I'll have
heard
to.
I heard when Washington Collins was, I mean, Alan Collins was kind of working on this. Faye, why you want to treat a broke down man this way? I don't want to, and I just want to think about it.
Yeah, hopefully I can get Kent Griffith to
Please
come over there too.
stay. That's all I
And
remember. So,
and then Brian Bodkin has some Freebird Cafe video that he's supposed to send me. Brian, if you're listening, man, send me that. You already promised. You can't undo a promise, man. You got to send me that video. I'll give you a call. We'll talk about it. But I think he still watches sporadically. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff coming up on the road, and hopefully I can get a bunch of video of some cool stuff, and then we'll find out some more about that APB band thing, and then we'll go through the comments and the questions here. You ready? All set, Craig?
oh, wait a minute. Amanda, no, I'm not, I don't remember her last name. Her boyfriend has a collection of Skynyrd stuff, and he's kind of liquidating a bunch of stuff. And he's got one of those black Epiphones, but it's one that it don't have Lynyrd Skynyrd and a fretboard or nothing, but it's just a black Epiphone uh, Les Paul copy, but all the band signed it. So
Oh,
she was,
really?
yeah.
Like original members or
No,
the tribute band?
tribute band.
Well,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah, all the tribute band guys signed it. It's one of those black Epiphone Les Paul copies, but I guess he's got a doc. I guess it was some kind of I don't know, giveaway or something, and he won it. I guess I don't know what all comes with it, but yeah, she wants me to mention that on here, and then she said that if it sold for enough, that they would donate some money to the survivors out of that money.
Yeah, well, if we can help somebody out by doing that, there's people out there that would like to have some of this stuff, and we don't mind.
But what you said about that guy that was badmouthing, you're gonna read that later then.
Yeah, I'll read it. I've got it in the
Yeah,
comments
yeah,
here.
he knows if you write
Yeah.
something like that in,
Yeah, if you write
he'll read
something,
it. So
yeah,
he knows we're gonna read it on here.
if
So
somebody writes something in here, and they're all pissed off, I'm gonna be all over that, man. I love that stuff. I like to get in there and crack on them because this ain't nothing on here worth getting pissed off about, man.
well,
You know,
I recognize the name.
Yeah,
But
and the guy.
He's not on the list of winners. I have the
Well,
list.
let me just go ahead and read it because now that we're talking about it, I got a few other comments, and I'll just put the after this. But yeah, the guy's name's Tom Garrett. You could just go through the comments and sound like he was a little drunk or something to me because I can't even hardly understand what he's saying. It's like asking questions with a period. And I don't really know, what his problem is. But in the past, he's interacted with us very well, and he's always had great comments. And I don't really see any questions that he asked, but he always had great comments. But now, oh man, he says, listening to Craig about the shirt giveaway when he mentioned how much they cost. Everything you auction has been given to you. As far as Randall goes, hell, I have friends that aren't doing well. You want to donate to them, or you have more friends in need? My friend Monty has a bad hip, and he means as much to me. You want to donate to him? Dude, man, what's wrong with you, man? Then he goes down here and he goes, I know how you did 3 times a week. You didn't have shit to talk about. Last, but not last, the survivors you have paid, they look capable of doing something. Maybe not being a singer, but they can do things like anyone else can. In other words, they need to go back to work, is what he's saying.
Man, Paul Welsh isn't able to carry a job.
And
Neither
then
is
he
Mark
goes,
Howard. I mean, God Almighty.
and then he goes, Craig wants to be
and
famous.
Leslie,
He says,
Leslie has a lot of pain every freaking day.
yeah, oh yeah. Well, he says Craig wants to be famous. In other words, he's cracking on you, saying you trying to be famous. And he said, if he was your boss, he would fire you because you're a goof off, right? And he says, I'll come to an end. He says, I've watched every podcast and been pretty disappointed. Well, there's 300 of them, man. If you're disappointed, why'd you watch 300 of them, man? It sounds like to me you're beating yourself up, But like Craig said, man, when we first came on here, we didn't have any intentions on collecting money for survivors. People wanted to start donating to the survivors, and we said, well, we'll just donate the monetary through the podcast that we get paid to the survivors, and then people started sending money in and things to
people wanted to send me money. Where do I send money? I said, man, I don't want to take donations. We'll do the monetary. We'll give away the YouTube monetization, but I don't want to get into that donation thing. But God, I kept turning people down, and I started feeling bad. I'm going, God, these people want to send in money to give these people that need the money. I felt like, bad. So I said, okay,
well, this is like a Lynyrd Skynyrd fan site here, and it's not like we just walked into this thing just looking for donations for anything.
I was requested to do this, man. People want me to write a book. I don't want to write no book, but I'm thinking about it now.
So let me tell you a little something about Paul Welsh, man. The guy's like I've interviewed him, man. That guy was crippled in that plane crash. Leslie Hawkins, I've sat down with her and her husband. She is in horrific pain. This is a backup singer for Lynyrd Skynyrd, who was part of the original band. And you're going to go get a job. You need to just go get a job like everybody else. Oh, you're going to tell that to her? I wouldn't tell that to her face, because, the way she is she's a matter-of-fact person. She's very sweet, but Leslie don't take any crap.
I mean, after the other backup singer was killed, it's just unfathomable to me that she was just forgotten.
And what do you think Ronnie would say to this guy?
Oh, man, he's probably the one that's encouraging me to do this.
Exactly. This, and
Try to take care of them people, man. God.
but anyway, man, we gave you a little your 10 minutes of fame here, man, so you can go ahead and stop watching the podcast. You don't have
I'm
to
gonna
watch
put
it
him in my
anymore.
book.
Yeah. So Tom Garrett, man,
I thought he was
we
a
don't-
prize winner, though. When you said somebody was mad, is he a
Yeah,
prize winner? I looked at my list. He's not.
No,
on
he's
the
not a
list.
prize winner. So I thought, I think what he's pissed off about is he misunderstood.
You know what?
Craig.
Larry, my best friend Larry, that comes over here every day. He's got a horrible back. He's got this out of shape. My other friend Dave has to go get an operation on his back. My friend Nick's got a back. Every friend I did concrete and did hard labor, and they've all got bad backs. Even I have to go to the back doctor every now and then. I get a sciatic problem, but I just go to a chiropractor, and he.
Well,
works
like
on
I
me
was
all the
saying,
time.
Craig, he got hacked off about the shirt thing because you were sounding
because
like
I
you were-
said how much they cost, and there
how much it
wasn't no
cost.
profit in them. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
trying to tell people, man. I felt bad. Mary Filing, she sent those, and she said, "Hey, donate the profit to Randall." But I was just explaining to people, that that's a nice shirt, and it cost like $12 to have it made. And then she sent 4 shirts up here, and I think it was like $15 to send 4 shirts. But if you only send one, you're going to spend about $8 on it. So she had to make the shirt and send them up here, and then when we sell it, it's going to cost $8 or so to ship it. So there's not a lot of profit left for whoever's getting donated. So it's not a.
No, it wasn't meant to be like a complaint about anything. It's just facts.
Yeah, he said, I get everything given to me. That's what he's mad about, because people give me stuff. Who knows,
But hey, man, the
whatever,
worst thing-
I get so many phone calls, people, think I'm fabulous,
But if you go on
if a couple
to,
few don't like me, I can live with that.
if
Hell,
you go on a Lynyrd Skynyrd podcast, a Lynyrd Skynyrd basically fan podcast, and start trashing the plane crash survivors, dude.
Yeah, that's not a very
you just need to
kosher
go
thing to
away
do.
now, man, because we don't want to.
he's been a nice guy. I remember the name. I'm real familiar with that name.
That to me is, nothing's unforgivable, but that's pretty bad. That's pretty. rotten.
He must have been drunk. I don't know.
If you were drunk, man, and you want to go ahead and come clean or whatever, it's cool.
Yeah, like I said, everybody's got a little bit of mental illness in them.
But if you meant it, you got a problem. man.
Sometimes that mental illness just shows its ugly face every now and then. I can deal with that. I can relate to that. So.
Well, I think like Craig was saying, Ronnie, and somebody even mentioned it in here about, Ronnie's got some unfinished business, and I think, some strange things have come about to put Craig and I together, and it was almost like divine intervention. And although we've raised like $50,000 directed toward the survivors, that's not shit. That's nothing, man.
Yeah,
and these guys, these people, they were, lighting, sound guys, they were stage hands and things, and they were, they like to probably smoke a little weed or whatever, but they were good people, and they were working a job, and they were on that plane, and some shit happened really bad, and they saw some things, and they felt some things, and they were going through some things, still going through things, man. And the people that like Lynyrd Skynyrd don't mind helping, and we appreciate the people that do. So
It's like I don't like to advertise that we want to get on here and raise up money to buy Gene Odom a car, because god dang, a car costs any car worth having costs at least 10 grand. That's a freaking lot of money for people.
No, but if somebody's got one laying around that's just
Well, yeah,
in
they could,
disrepair,
donate.
because
instead of
Gene will
donating
run
to
it.
Goodwill, donate it to
Yeah.
the Stone Roadie Show. We'll write your receipt.
Yeah, Gene will wear that car out in about 3 weeks if it's on its last leg. He'll test it. But if you're just going to get rid of something, like a lot of people just donate things. But yeah, I mean, we're not going to stop looking out for the survivors just because some guy wants to come on here.
As long as people want to send in money to them, we'll take it, and
But
divide it
yeah,
up.
I wasn't expecting that. And old Kimmy, she was going on there replying. She was being sweet, trying to wake the guy up. Man, she was old Kimmy.
But boy, I tell
Good
you,
old
I
Kimmy.
just did a podcast 2 days ago, man.
I know.
After going wow, one a week, and then I did one Saturday, and then one tonight. This is Sunday night. God Almighty.
Well, you know what? Joseph Yema says one show a week looks way better on you, Craig. He says you look and you sound better. So I agree with you, Joseph. He was getting angry. Craig was actually getting angry, and then when he fell on the steps, that kind of really pissed him off there for a while, and then some people were kind of like showing up at his house with little party favors, and so he hasn't been probably like you said, you got the list of people for the prizes, right, Craig? You want to read them before we get into the rest of the comments?
All right, I was loading my bowl, but gosh dang it.
Yeah, go ahead and read that list of all the people.
Okay. Oh.
Just so you know, Craig still knows who. And if you're not on the list and you're supposed to be, let us know.
Yeah. James Dolan.
Or if you're on there and you're not supposed to be.
Chip Crury, Matt Kelly, Jimmy J. Smith, Robert Gribben, Jerry Dodson, Homer Hancock, Denise Soares, Laura Harvey, Paul Keaton. Oh, Paul, I don't have your address down here, so write me your address. I don't have it down. George Zielen Zelbach, Latonia Barron, Chuck Smith, Wheelchair Chuck, Mike Stoling, Don Johnson. He got tired of waiting. He just came and got his. He's already got his.
You can scratch him off.
Yeah, Janet Green, TP, Jim King, Rusty Arrington, Alan Rosemeyer. This might be the list for the stickers. I think it is.
Oh, that's not the prize list?
This last one.
I believe it. Oh, the last one. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
because I was about to say,
yeah, I thought with TP. I think this is one of the pages for the list for the stickers. Yeah, it is. Yeah, this is sticker. Yeah, just as we're starting with TP. Those won't get it, but the other ones there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Jim Jenkins, send me your address too. And then Jack West, and then Corey Chip Curry, that's your name. Chip Curry, I don't have your address either. Oh, yes, I do. You're up here. Okay, yeah, I got that. Chip, I got you. You're in Celder Lane in Melbourne. So, okay, cool. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, TP, these people are stickers.
Okay, so
there's more stickers too. This was just one page of those.
Okay. And Craig's working on it diligently.
Yeah. I got hung up on another project here in the last couple of days. Plus, I got a freaking building coming here tomorrow. It's been raining like a son.
Do you have what coming? A
A
building,
building.
like a shed.
Yeah, 12 by 24 to put my
Oh, you put all
tractors
your
in,
money in.
so my shit don't get stolen like my gator did. I gotta put things in a building. So yeah, I'm having one of them delivered, and I had to clear it out of place and level it with an excavator, and then it's been raining ever since. It's supposed to freaking snow here tomorrow.
Does it have a roll up door on it or something?
It's got a garage door, yeah.
Yeah. How big a building is it?
12 by 24.
Damn. That's a
Yeah.
barn, man. That's a
Yeah,
big one.
yeah. Larry had to take down half of my damn mailbox rocks here today to so the truck could pull in around, make the turn, because there's a lot of
Damn, I hope that
rocks
bridge don't collapse.
That's not right. Then he had to go make sure that all the trees were adequately trimmed so they could get it up here. And
I thought Larry was moving.
no, he decided not to move. He's moving pretty quick. He sold his house. He's moving pretty quick, but
But not out of.
he's got this building, and I bought this building off of him.
Oh, okay. Okay,
So
that's
we're
cool.
having it moved over here from his house.
Oh, okay.
He's been bringing me a bunch of he's a rock collector too. So he's been bringing me, he's got all these real nice rocks. He's been bringing me truckloads of rocks and stacking them up.
But he's not moving out of town now. He was.
No, he's moving about 10 miles away.
Okay.
And he's moving from a place where he's got a lot of land and stuff to a small house with like a quarter of an acre. So
Yeah, I feel you, man. That's
yeah.
okay. Well, yeah, and old Trutonic Truth says YouTube censoring is from a private company, not the government. Well, I don't know. Did I say they were from the government? But I would say they cater to the government, whatever government.
They're from Google.
Liberal government.
Google is YouTube, and Google's
Yeah,
they
they
big.
cater to the elite world leaders, but hopefully, but we're not going to get into a whole bunch of politics or anything anymore. We're stick to Skynyrd stuff, but every now and then. And then LS Freebird says, Warren, get up there and get that car running. Isn't Warren your buddy, Craig?
Yeah, Warren's my buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, well, when the weather, right now it's raining and it's supposed to snow, and I'm sure but yeah, if anybody up there, well, near Craig would probably be good, knows one of these YouTubers that run a podcast that say, Will It Run? They like to put that stuff on their channel, and a lot of times they'll go out and find a car and just see if they can get it running. It don't have to, be like driving down the road or anything. They just want to see if they can get it running.
Yeah, but to get Alan Collins' car running, but somebody mentioned to me somebody that does that, goes around and gets cars.
Yeah, there's several people that does those YouTubes. I actually contacted one guy, no nonsense know-how. He's a really good mechanic, that guy, and I've seen him do some really amazing things. And I think, believe it or not, I think he works at like an oil change place or something, which the guy's a fantastic mechanic. I don't know why, but yeah, that no nonsense know-how, I think I talked to him and they said it was too far away from
Man,
where
if
they
I put
live.
my mind to it, I could get that thing running, but I just don't feel like it.
Well, yeah, man, I know, and there's a lot of things that I need to do that I don't feel like doing either. So
I quit wanting to be a mechanic. I can still do it, but I quit wanting to be a mechanic when I was 22 years old. That was a long time ago. I still do some stuff. I can't hardly do any. My Lexus is in the shop right now. It's got a dead short in it somewhere, and
How you getting around?
I'm not. Sammy comes and I call Sammy if I need to do anything. But yeah, I called Wire Wizards and they goes, yeah, we could get it in, but it'd be at the end of April before we could even get it in. And then if it's something to do with programming, we'd have to take it to Lexus anyways, because they're the only ones that can work on the damn thing.
Yeah, they've had it a while now.
So I just called Lexus and said, hey, or called AAA and had them tow it down to Lexus. That was Wednesday, and
Well, hopefully it won't be more than
they said they'd give me a loaner car if I could wait until they got one back. I said, no, I don't need a loaner.
When you told me about that for some reason this vision popped in my head of $2,500. I don't know.
You said
why.
$3,400.
Did I?
Yeah, you said 34.
Oh, 34? Okay.
Yeah, that figure stuck in
that.
my freaking head.
Let me write that down. $3,400. I don't know, man. It was like a
figure just freaked me out. 3,400 for a short. Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. I blew out some freaking
the amazing
computer.
Kreskin.
When AAA came and hooked the jumper box to the battery, the horn started blowing.
So what was it? So the wiring shot on. You don't know what it's doing.
I hooked up the battery charger and it just kept the battery charger just kept going. It had a dead short in it somewhere.
Yeah, let's have some fun in the comments. You guys put in the comments what you think it's going to cost, Craig, and whoever's the closest, I'll send you a poster or a sticker or something.
Probably a damn mouse or something got in my garage and climbed up in it.
Yeah. So I'm saying $3,400, and you guys, it's a Lexus. What year is it, Craig?
2007. That's one of the good years.
Yeah, it is. 2007 is a good one for that. So so I just know how much stuff costs.
Lexus 350 RS SUV.
Got wiring trouble.
Yeah, it's got a dead short.
Craig,
but,
man.
Yeah, you got to take it to Lexus.
You could just go get you a job, man. You don't, So what? So what? You were in a plane crash. Go get a damn job and pay for it.
I'm 74 years old.
Lazy
I'm a grouchy old damn man. A crook and a liar and a crook and a thief. And
now you're a goof off. You're a goof off, he said.
And I'm a goof off. I don't give a shit what you call me, man. Boy, I keep having those freaking goddamn nightmares. I had one every night, and then I woke up, and then I had another dream. It wasn't a nightmare, but well, I don't really have nightmares. I dreamed this time. I dreamed it was Big Lou was on my dream, and I couldn't find. I was up in Gary's room. I was trying to get his luggage down, and then I got lost and got out of the hotel. I couldn't get back to the hotel. I found Big Lou. I said, "God dang it, Lou! I don't know how to get back to the hotel." So then he didn't know how to get back. I was going. This ain't. I am not even supposed to be doing Gary's luggage, and I just offered to help out. Now look what I got myself into. I'm not even supposed to be doing this shit. I kept saying,
Craig, it's just a dream.
I woke up and going, God Almighty!
It was just a dream. Teutronic says Ed was not making fun of anyone. Griff, he says Griff is a cuck. Well, I think what I said was that Ed kind of brought that scratchy, that chicken picking scratchy, and he probably did that making fun of the guys because they were rednecks. Well, I tell you, man, I used to talk to Ed on Facebook like about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I would ask him, all kinds of questions, and he used to think it was funny about some of the stuff those guys did. I remember I remember him mentioning things like that. So I wouldn't say he did it to make fun of them, but he probably thought that, that those guys had that kind of style. And if he added a little scratch to it, because isn't it, Craig? I mean, you hear Ed, the way he plays, he's got more of a country twang
He
than any
tried
of
to
them.
play different. All of them tried to play different, than the other
Yeah.
players. They all tried to have their own. Well, they didn't
But
have to try hard because they did have their own thing, but they tried to be real different than the other one.
but some of his licks, man, are just phenomenal, and they've got that scratchy sound to them, and it just like, yeah, it just goes with Skinner. It makes it, it just helps it. Um,
Yeah, it's like Billy. Billy just kind of feels his way in there.
Then Donald Johnson, he goes, he wants to know, which is a good question, but we have had Gene talk about this. What is the history of Hell House? Who built it, and what was it built for?
It's just a cabin built
Yeah.
back there by the there was a boat dock back there, and this guy John had owned this farm, and from what I understand, Dean is the one that found the place out there, and
Yeah, it was
guy
just like a
John
little
owned it.
cabin by the creek. It was what it was like for,
It,
maybe it was a fishing cabin or
it was
something.
hard to get to, man. When it was just a dirt road back there, and
Yeah.
in Florida, it's not dirt; it's sand, and that shit gets
Yeah,
wet.
they call
Man.
it sugar sand.
That shit gets wet, man. It's easy to stick cars. That's why I had that big old Delta 88, man, and I'd load up my that car with positive traction, and I'd load up everybody in that car and take them to rehearsal. There'd be cars back there stuck along the way, and I'd just tank my way back through there.
Yeah, and I guess they found that, and it was nobody was using it, and they needed a place to go because they were pissing people off, and that was way. They couldn't have found
And
a more
they
remote place.
got the police called on because the music would travel up that
Creek.
canal, and yeah, they had to quit playing at like 4 o'clock before people started getting home from work and stuff. Yeah,
And could
yeah,
you imagine living near there and you could hear Leonard Skinner practicing?
yeah, really. But
I know people
and
say they
they
would go to the
complained then,
trestle.
but if they only knew.
Yeah, they would go to the trestle and listen to him
They'd have
play.
been out
Hell,
there with tape recorders trying to
yeah,
record them, and
I'd have
then
been down there with a
be
boat.
millionaires now trying to sell the tapes. They
Yeah.
could too, couldn't they? Hell House rehearsal tapes.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know, they would have it all on tape when Saturday, Sweet Home Alabama was writ.
You sneak up there with a recorder and
Yeah,
record it. But, and I haven't heard like, you'd think somebody would have some old Skinnerd stuff from like when they were doing top 40s and things like that. But I haven't heard anything that they like that they did. There's nothing that I've heard of them doing before they hit it big, any of their set lists for like their top 40 stuff. Because they used to do all kinds of songs.
I had a tape of I went on a cocaine run, and I left a tape recorder running in the control room at the studio, and Peter Rudge was in there, and he was going, and I was a little late, and he was going, "Where's Craig? He's been gone a long time." And Ronnie said, "Oh, he'll be back." He said, "He don't even do that shit. He's okay. He'll be back." So I had that tape, and it was funny. And Alan come over to my apartment one time, and I had that tape inside of a Skinner thing, and he came over and he grabbed a bunch of tapes and said, "Here, I'm gonna borrow these." I said, "Okay," and he took that tape, and I never got it back.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was Ronnie
And I
talking.
asked him, I say, "Man, Alan, you took that freaking tape I had." "I don't know what you're talking about."
Oh, shit, man.
Yeah, he wanted to keep it for himself, I guess.
Oh, he did?
I
You
don't know.
think
He
that's
just,
what it was?
I don't know what you're talking about. I know
Huh.
goddamn well he's heard it.
Yeah, so anyway, the Hell House, I don't know who built it. Probably that John guy built it, huh?
Yeah, John. I don't remember his last name, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it was John. God, I can't remember it either.
start
But
with a G, I think.
yeah,
Gruen or I don't know.
but yeah, he probably. And then
Griswold.
after that, after they got burnt down, there were still a couple. They built another couple buildings out there, according to Gene, because Gene says that Johnny thinks he has the slab, a piece of the slab at his house, and Gene said that's not the slab to the Hell House. That was to another building that came out after that. So I don't know, but that's what Gene said. You know, I'm just a messenger, so don't shoot the messenger. And let me see. Ronnie says he loves Mike Estey's opening song, and he says, don't forget it was Leon Wilkerson's birthday, April 2nd, 1952. He was born in Newport, Rhode Island, and then they moved to Jacksonville. So, yeah, it was, what was it? After we did the last podcast, it was the day after uh, we did the last podcast. It was Leon's birthday, Craig. So,
Oh God, I don't know.
yeah.
I don't remember. Did we do April Fool's Day?
I don't remember what
That's supposed
last
to be.
Monday
That's
was.
supposed to be the really supposed to be the first day of summer, April 1st, until the Catholics changed the calendar. April 1st is supposed to be the first
Well,
day
it's
of summer,
pretty damn hot down here already. I'll tell
or
you
spring.
that.
It's first day of spring. I'm sorry, which makes sense. He said, "Why start? Why start the year and when it's January? You started in April when it's nice out."
Then we were talking about strings and what the guys used to use and Ipon Kale. I don't know if that's the right username. Says Stevie Ray used 12 gauge strings. They were like cables. He said, but he still would break them. Yeah, that's pretty. I tell you what, man, not harder on your fingers than some damn.
Well, would that be a 12, 18, 28, 38, 48, 56? The Skynyrd's were 10, 13, 17, 26, 36, 46. That's a 10 gauge. A 12 gauge would be, God, that'd be 12, 18, 28.
I know I was looking at some 9 gauge for the acoustic, and the guy's like, yeah, we don't sell many of those, but we have them. And I didn't buy them because I think my buddy talked me out of getting them. He said, man, those are just too flimsy.
Yeah, nine's acoustic.
They won't last long.
You had an acoustic, you want at least a 56 top or 58. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of them.
56 normally.
They're more about
54.
the sound that, they don't care about the comfort.
Acoustic though, your G string is a wound string, but on an electric guitar, a G string is a solid string, but on acoustic, it's a wound string, right? Yeah.
I know it's wound on the
So G is
acoustic.
wound, yeah.
Yeah. Then Jerry Dotson, I don't know where this came from, Jerry. You was talking about, you said that you guys made tattoos in prison using, they used a guitar string. They get a
Oh
little
God.
motor, and they'd use a guitar string, and they'd make a tattoo needle.
Yeah, they're sharp as shit, man.
Yeah, isn't Joey Dotson, isn't he the guy that got mad about he's the bricklayer, isn't he? That got mad about and then he said he was sorry or something, but
Oh, I don't
I
know.
don't think I messed with him, man. He was in prison making freaking tattoos. It's okay, man. Whatever, man. Whatever you want. Anybody that was in prison making tattoos, I ain't messing with them. That's why I was wondering how that Wade Wilson guy. You know, the guy he killed those two girls and he tattooed these scars on each side of his mouth. I think he did that in prison. Somebody must have done that. Look up Wade Wilson. That guy's a real scumbag, man. But he had somebody in prison do those tattoos, and what a horrible freaking disfigurement he did to himself. That's
I
like
need to talk about
hideous.
my buddy Ronnie that's in prison one of these times, and he's got like 10 more years to,
Yeah.
to do, and I need to have people write to the Clemency Department in Florida, Duval County, and just write the governor and ask him to release Ronnie if they get enough
Yeah, because you
requests.
say he's not guilty.
Give him- No, he's in bad shape, man. I don't want to see him die in prison, you know. So I'd like to, get people to write. The next podcast or so, I'll give information. And if people would write into Clemency Department for the governor of, or whoever it is, for clemency for Duval County, I'd appreciate it if you'd write in and ask for, little.
Well, we'll get you a little thing
Release
together,
Ronnie. Get
and
Ronnie
then on
released.
the pod, you can talk.
He
about
was
what
friends with the
happened.
band forever and ever. He got railroaded.
And he owned the marina. Didn't
Yeah,
he?
he sold he worked for Rustin Collins. He's my best friend, man. And yeah, he got railroaded. And
Did they say that he killed his wife?
Yeah, the coroner said he had a freaking heart attack. It was her birthday and she wanted a party, and she just had her leg got fixed, and Ronnie had been taking care of her for 4 months, and she wanted to get some whiskey and celebrate, and she was taking those freaking pills and drinking whiskey, and Ronnie had a freaking heart attack. And he said, and he didn't talk very nice to her sometimes. And he'd say, he was talking to Tracy, and he was yelling, "Don't call 911. I don't want 911 to come here." He said, "I'll just deal with it." And I don't know, but he said something over the phone, like he called her a bitch. "God damn it, you bitch! Don't freaking call 911." And they heard that and thought he was an abusive guy, and then he woke up and found her dead upstairs, and the coroner said she had a heart attack, and when she had a heart attack, she fell and hit her head on the freaking table, and they fucking said he murdered her.
No way.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, them people out there didn't like him because his son Aaron kept getting in a lot of trouble, and Ronnie had some money, so he kept getting Aaron out of jail and stuff. So the judge out there had it in for Ronnie and just fucking threw the book at him.
Yeah, and
it sucks, man.
But I will say there's worse places to die than in prison. Look at Gene Hackman, man. Gene Hackman's what happened with him was his wife died and he had dementia, and they said he was alone in the house with her dead body for 7 days and before he died. And basically, he didn't have anybody to help him, take care of him, feed him. He had dementia so bad, he didn't know where he was at. And so he eventually just laid down and died. And the dog that was in the cage starved to death. So that has to be
The dog had been sick. She had that dog to a vet, and she was supposed to go back to get medicine for it and never went back. Apparently, they had mice or something, and she got some kind of rat infection or something like that.
Hantavirus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they say once you start getting the late stages of that, it only takes about 3 days to kill you. But that dog was in the cage because it just got back from the vet and it couldn't get out and get water or anything or food, so it died. And the same thing happened to Gene Hackman. So, man, that's just horrible. The poor guy. He didn't know where the hell he was, and he just probably laid down and died. He didn't know what was going on. So, but yeah. Um, yeah, a lot of people asking Winslow Red Cross. They want to get Mike Estes back on the podcast. Well, Craig called him not too long ago, and he said he was busy. So it's going to be hard to get him back on here, but we'll try. We'll keep.
Mike knows I want him to come on. When he's ready to come back on, he'll.
He's like the most requested guy to come back. Is it Mike Estes? Man, everybody likes old Mike.
People are wondering about Paul too. I haven't heard from Paul. I haven't tried to call him or nothing, but people said, "Have you heard from Paul?" Kathy asked me that the other day if I'd heard from Paul. Last I heard from him, I asked him to come on, and he said he'd come on sometime when Mike came on or somebody. He didn't want to come on by himself.
Well, you ought to just send Mike Estes either a email or something and ask him how Paul's doing. Maybe
I don't think he talks to Paul very often.
Probably talks to him more than we do.
Oh no!
But yeah, we need to try to reach out to Paul and see what's going on.
I know Jay Johnson. He just graduated real estate school, so I don't know how that is effective.
Yeah, and he was going to come on too. Mike was going to get him to come on.
Well, he just, like I said, he just graduated real estate school, and he's really tied up with that. So I don't know how that is affecting him.
Yeah, it's tough. And once you get somebody on once, sometimes it's hard to get them back on.
Yeah.
Kimmy says, "You think you have brain damage, Craig, for being married 5 times. I have brain damage for being married 1 time for 40 years.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. Yeah, for once we agreed.
In other words, she's losing her mind being married for 40 years to that guy.
I can't imagine being with the same woman for 40 years. God.
Well, if you get along, what's wrong with that?
I haven't been able to ever do that with a woman. Get along.
Well,
she always says, that's what she always tells me. After a while, she said, "Get along, little doggy, get along."
And then Linda Jo LaCava says she digs Mike Estes' intro. I put it on the last one, and she says that we see. I dig.
Yeah,
the
Kathy
intro,
Godsey likes
Griff,
the Alan Collins intro.
She was telling me because remember last podcast I think I was talking about I went into the doctor's office and I passed this girl on the way out, and I noticed when I parked there was a car. It looked just like mine, and I don't know why I parked right beside it, but I did. And so it's almost like she was waiting for me out there to see if I would get in her car. So she could laugh at me. She did that. I think she did that on purpose because she didn't lock the door or anything. So I come back out and I open the door and she goes, "I knew you were going to do that." And I go, "Well, why did you lock the damn door?" And she's like, "It's okay. Don't worry about it. But I knew you were going to do it." And so I'm like, God, man, I was like embarrassed because I didn't expect that. I opened the door and there's somebody sitting in my car and I'm like, what the hell? And then I remembered that I parked next to somebody. So yeah, she was pretty nice about it. She was pretty nice, but that doesn't have anything to do with anything other than what we were talking about on the last podcast. And then she says, there is hope for her if Rick Springfield still has abs and a washboard belly. She says, I ride my bike still at 62, and he's 10 years older than me. Yeah, I was talking about Rick Springfield. I saw him. He's like 75 or something. Somebody said in here how old he is, and he still goes on stage without a shirt. But Linda, be careful riding that bike because that's how I got hit by the car, and the jogger found me, and that was like 5 years of hell after that. So be careful on that bicycle. Don't ride it around cars because they do not. You think cars don't respect motorcycles? They don't respect bicycle riders even worse. And I know that for a fact because I got hit a couple times on my bicycle. I should have known better the first time and not got back on it again because that was a bitch.
Do you have rear view mirrors on your bike?
I did. I had a little mirror that I put so I could see, but I remembered what happened. You know, it took like the doctor told me, he said you might remember some things, and then this dog came running out at me out of a yard when I was walking around the lake. And then I had a flashback, and I remembered that the reason that car hit me was because a dog was chasing me, and I pulled out in front of the car, and I swerved in front of the car. That's how it happened. So I remembered it eventually, and it bothered me for a long time trying to figure out what, because I didn't remember nothing. But that's how I think it happened, pretty sure. Then David Hester, he says YouTube has been messing with him since he started watching the Stone Roadie show. They're picking on him because he's got a lot of favorites on YouTube, a lot of channels he watches, and normally he can see them pop up when the new ones come out. He said, but now they've banned him from. So they're picking on him because he's a Stoned Roadie subscriber. So sorry about that.
Yeah, you'll get that. Yeah, if you're a Trump supporter, you'll get it. I had a Trump flag at the end of my driveway, a great big one. Larry's been. He says, every time I come over here and work down by your mailbox, people blow their horn and give me the finger. He said, I wish you'd take that Trump sign down. I goes, I'd flag down. I goes, I could take the Trump flag down, but they'd still know that dirty son of a bitch lives here. You know, I got an American flag over there, and I got to try. So I gave him a American flag, and he took the Trump flag down. He was working down there today, so he put an American flag up. So they still know that dirty son of a bitch lives here.
Oh, they don't like an American flag either. So what the hell?
He said, "Where's that armed forces flag? They like that one."
Chip Crewy wants to know, Craig, when you were setting lines up for Gary in between songs, he wanted to know, was that before the plane crash? Was Ronnie there, or did he care, or was that later?
Not much. Not much during the original band. The original band, I'd put him over on his amp head, and he'd come over and snort it right off the top of his amp head.
Well, Ronnie wouldn't care, right? He wouldn't have cared.
Ronnie wouldn't pay no attention. I'd just lay him out of line on top of his amp head, and he'd come over and pick up a straw and just
over in the dark.
Yeah.
You know, what's funny is Carlos Santana was talking about when he went to Woodstock, and they said, okay, you're going to be going on in about 5 bands from now. And he goes, oh, good, man. And he went and took some acid, right? Because he knew he had a while. And then they come back and they go, hey, something changed. We need you to go out there right now. Right? And he goes, man, I just took some acid. And they're like, man, you got to go on now, right? And so he goes, and this is all it's on film. And when he talked about it, and he said, so when he went out there, he said he started tripping, and he said that his neck of his guitar turned into a snake. And he said for some reason he got into a zone, and it was the best he ever played. But he said he was like freaked out the entire time he was doing it, but he said he was playing his ass off. And if you watch him in that Woodstock when he's playing, man, he's like got a face. You can tell he's really stoned, man. You can tell. Yeah, you guys go watch that Woodstock with with Carlos Santana. That's pretty cool. I'm sure some of you probably heard that story before, but
well, that's when Neil Sean was with him, and Neil was only 16 then.
Yeah.
And Ross Valerie, too, yeah. Not Ross Valerie. Greg Raleigh. Greg Raleigh was wrote Black Magic Woman.
Yeah, and that drummer was just a kid, too, you know. I forget the drummer's name.
Yeah, I don't know either, yeah.
But that drummer, man, he did like a hell of a solo. David Hester says he watches YouTube, and there's a guy on there that likes to mess with his commenters. He says if they don't agree with him, he calls them a flat earther. And then he says that somebody says, well, what makes you think the earth is round? And he said, when I look up at the moon and it's a crescent moon, he says that tells me it's round. Well, it might just be a disc. It doesn't mean it's round. It could just be it could be a hologram, you know, who knows? But that's what we'll start calling people on the comments that are pissing us off. We'll call them round earthers.
Yeah.
And then Alan Rosemeyer, Griff, next time you talk to Gene, ask him about Ronnie's Fiat race car. You know anything about Ronnie's Fiat race car?
No, nothing at all. No.
Yeah, okay.
Heard anything about
yeah,
that.
now I'm interested, man. I'll definitely.
I don't see
that.
Ronnie in an Italian hot rod.
If Gene knows anything about it, I'll try to get it on
Fiat
video. Yeah, Fiat. Well, you know, Fiats were big back in the 70s, man.
Well, yeah, Fiat, yeah.
Yeah, we
They're
had
Italian,
a neighbor.
right?
Yeah, we had a neighbor that had a little Fiat. I think they were like 3 cylinders or some shit. But
wasn't Fiat an offshoot of Ferrari?
yeah, and it's no, I don't think so, but I think they were pretty good cars. I don't think anybody had any
Didn't they
problems
used to
with them.
race those little Fiats and those with the Mini Coopers, the Fiats and the Mini Coopers? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't see them anymore. But you know,
It was an Italian car, yeah. They were small.
Then, man, Madison, I think Ronnie is influencing what you guys are doing. May sound crazy, but I think he has some unfinished business. And yeah, so there you go. Tom,
the whole
Garrett,
thing with
that's
me getting involved with this band is just freaking too coincidental. You know, it's like the whole thing is
it was.
just
Yeah, you know, and
it's just
I think
meant to be like that. And that's, you know, it's just the whole thing. There's just too many things in my life that have fallen into place just when they needed to, and it's just too coincidental to be coincidental.
And I think more good is about to happen. Something good's going to happen because, you know, I just feel it.
I think
coming.
our life has already been dictated. We're just kind of living it, and it just surprises us as we go along.
And then Philip Morgan sent me a message, and he goes, Craig's getting a belly on him. His shirt looks like it's too tight, I guess, on the Kathy Godsey thing, but it don't look – you look skinny right there, Craig.
Yeah, it just depends on what shirt.
It's your shirt, man. Your shirt, if it's too tight, it makes it look like you got a belly.
Yeah. Some of my shirts are mediums, and some of them.
And you know, if you're
a lot of them are film fit. Yeah, I don't have the body I used to.
If you're,
but I don't
you're
have
fat
a belly. I
shamer,
don't have. There's no
people-
fat there. Look,
people
I can't
pick
look.
on
I
you.
can't look. I'm grabbing. I can't grab. That's all I can grab right there.
You know, that reminds me of
You
OJ
can
with the
see
glove.
right there. That's all I can grab.
Craig, that reminds me of OJ.
I can't grab anything. Look, I can't grab absolutely nothing right there.
You know what that looks like, Craig? That looks like OJ trying to put the glove on.
Yeah, I can't. I can grab absolutely nothing right there. Nothing. No. So,
Well,
yeah, I can grab a little bit right there.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can grab a way a lot more than that. Yeah, I got a dicky do going on. I mean, not real bad, but I mean, I don't even know. I guess you'd call it a granddad bod. But I am what I am. But anyway, that's the end of the comments and questions. And looks like we did about an hour and 10 minutes.
Well, I
So,
got some things to talk about,
all
though.
right.
I'm gonna start off with this list, this thing behind me, the set list there. I put
Yeah.
it up on eBay for auction, but before because I just wanted to see what would happen with it. But then my friend John Williams called and he told me what the price and everything, and he told me it was a copy, and ain't nothing I can do about it being a copy, but. So I put a real one up on eBay. I haven't been selling stuff, but I wanted to change the listing and put this thing in there and tell the story about Pawn Stars, but I had to do this podcast, so I didn't have time to do it. But I'm thinking about Tuesday. I'm thinking about um, if nobody's bid on it, I can revise the listing and try to put it in there. But I was thinking about if I did that, this would be up there with the other stuff that I have, and people would get confused. And if I wait until somebody bids on it, then when I edit the listing, it'll be down further and it'll be separate from the listing above. So I might do that. So I don't know.
Is it just the set list? It's not a poster.
Just the set list and a document of authenticity that it was on the airplane. Plus, there's some pictures of the set list on the back of an amplifier.
No shit. That's a good find right there.
And not that particular set, the one I'm
But
selling, but it's a picture of that because, like I said, those set lists were multi.
right, you wrote a
Sent
bunch
out.
of them.
Yeah. So I have a poster out in my living room, and it's got my set list on that. So that's a really set list has been in some really cool things. But yeah, so it's up on.
And there's no telling who used that set list.
Nobody used it. These
They
are ones.
didn't?
Well, no, These are all new that were never used.
Oh, okay.
Because they sent those things out. They sent stacks of those things out to us, and those are ones that were just in one of my briefcases when I went home, and I just put them with my memorabilia stuff. And yeah, they've never been used. They're in perfect condition. But yeah, they're the set list. I had a bunch of them in my briefcase when I went home, and I just stuck them in with my other memorabilia stuff. And then when I was getting a divorce, so I took everything I could with me, and I just stored it on the airplane because I knew we were coming here to Ohio, and I was just going to drop the stuff off, and then we were on that plane crash. So
And
that's why
if you wouldn't have had so much stuff on the plane, it wouldn't have ran.
yeah, it would have like glided.
Would have made it.
I had all my shit on there. I had a bunch of shit on there stored on the plane. Yeah, there.
All right. Well, what else you got? We'll wrap it up. You got something else?
Okay, well, I don't know if I want to get into this or not because it's pretty entailing. But I put up a couple of posts on FakeBook about the Cabbage Patch Kids. Remember when the America was repopulated, and they actually had kids that were supposed to be made in incubators, and they were showing them off at the World's Fairs and stuff, and that's where all this controversy and stuff about the World's Fairs and stuff. But they were had to, and that the stork, where the stork come from, where babies were coming, was a baby coming today? The damn mailman used to bring babies to the house. The mailman did.
Yeah, and that's like a big secret. I remember reading about that, about the Cabbage Patch Kids a long time
Yeah, they're
ago.
clones. Apparently, they're
Yeah.
clones, and they made them in incubators, and they shipped them all over the country. And if you remember the Little Rascals and all those old movies, there was a lot of orphanages, and they put all these Cabbage Patch Kids in orphanages that they couldn't get rid of.
Because
And then
so
that
many
at
people,
the same time, that's when all the insane asylums developed, all the big buildings that the Tartarians made, all these huge elaborate buildings. They put all these people that didn't want to conform to the new world in these freaking insane asylums, and then they repopulated the earth, the United States. I guess it was just United States with these Cabbage Patch Kids, But I was thinking, would Cabbage Patch Kids have a soul? I mean, they're
Well,
clones, but a
that's
Cabbage Patch Kid have, like Rose Arden Barr was saying, some of these people don't have souls. I wonder if I wonder if they're products of the Cabbage Patch thing, because it's awful weird that now the government wants your DNA. They want to have your DNA. It's like we want to know who has pure DNA and don't have Cabbage Patch people in them.
I know
People
there's
that don't have a soul.
there's a
Something
couple.
weird's going on. That's you're living in the Stone Roadie dimension here. That's one of my demented thoughts. So
Well, there's a couple of my ex-wives that don't have a soul. So they had to be Cabbage Patch.
the Cabbage Patch wives. I had a couple of those.
Oh, hell, let's get off of here for this.
Yeah,
thing
that's
freezes
what
up
we're
on
gonna
me,
do.
Chris.
I just wanted to finish up with that little bit of derangement. But yeah, this has been podcast 301 of the Stone Roadie Show, and happy trails to you until we meet again. And see you later, alligator at the Wild Crocodile. And that was Wake and Bake 170 Stone Roadie Show podcast 301.